I'm clicking live, and I believe we're live. At least I hope we are. I don't like to usually get into things until I get from my audience. They say audio and video is all good. I don't know. I'm paranoid. I used to have a lot of problems in the beginning, and now I like to wait until everybody says everything's good, because otherwise I'm just wasting my time.
Are you insinuating to us all that your problems are over? That you don't have a lot of problems anymore?
Well, I believe what I said was my fingers are crossed that there are no more problems. You are live. There it is. Daryl Deemer, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a huge event here tonight. Not only do we have the man sitting across from me, who is, I call him the owner of Fritz because it's fun to say that. He's not the owner of Fritz, but he might as well be. Sean Hale is with me tonight. And I've got two lovely ladies behind me, one of which is not on camera because she's being bashful. We've got Evie from Fritz, and this lady, we found her walking down the street. We felt bad for her. And we said, let's bring her in and give her, I don't need to introduce her.
Well, I would say I am an owner of Fritz. Did you know that?
I didn't.
Because we are an employee-owned company.
Well, would you look at that?
There you go.
Okay, so I was right all along. That's good. I like that. We're going to talk a lot about Fritz tonight. We're going to talk about Aquascaping tonight.
Yeah.
But we have to talk about what's going on behind us, which there's no work going on behind us. I don't know what the problem is here.
John runs a tight ship over here.
So let me explain what's going on here. I've been talking about it in the weeks leading up to this. Let me adjust the camera here a little bit to get a little more of the tank in the shot. Sean came here this weekend with Evie and with the newest member of the Fritz team, who's not on camera right now, but he will be soon. I've been teasing it, but I have not said who it is. Don't worry. We're just gonna let him make an appearance,
just come over here.
And then you'll see who it is. You got to get in tight.
Sean, get off of that chair and
Am
let
I
him
in the shot?
It is Jimmy. Everybody knows Jimmy. He is the newest member. You got to go that way a little bit, Jimmy, to get full. There you go. We all know Jimmy, one of the most talented cinematographers in our industry, and he is a brand new member. First project with Fritz.
Yeah.
And he only screwed it up a little bit, but hey, new jitters, I guess. But you're here because of this behind me.
Right.
The story goes, I was working with Jake Adams.
Right.
We were trying to bridge the gap between freshwater and saltwater, and we had some momentum going. Things were going well, and unfortunately, Jake passed away in October. And I was talking to this gorgeous man sitting across from me. One day. No, it's you, Sean. It really is you.
I thought Jimmy was still back there.
And we were talking about it, and I told you what Jake and I had planned, and you said, well, you know what? We got you. Let's do it. We'll take over now. Fritz will jump in along with a whole bunch of other people and set up the first saltwater tank in the old fish house. Not my first saltwater tank ever in my history of fish keeping, but the first saltwater tank here. And we didn't go with a little pipsqueak 24-gallon like I had back in 2016. No, we went all in with there's been a debate about how big it is, but it's just the same size as my other two tanks over here, so I'm going to call it a 240. And what a dream it is. We got it all set up today, and the ladies are back here. They're going to scape it for me. Yeah. And I'm not nervous at all because these are both talented rock stackers, and they're going to do a great job. So that is going to be going on while we're talking here tonight. And Lisa would be so upset if she knew that everybody was just staring at her butt right now.
I knew that you were going to do that. I couldn't stop you. I just
Welcome to John's world. But it's a great looking butt, by the way.
Oh.
They're going to be scaping the new saltwater tank back there. And maybe they'll have it done by the time this stream is over. Now, I got to tell them something real quick. Okay, they're fine. They know that the biggest ones, Evie, these are basically done by size. So like the biggest ones are down here and then they get smaller and smaller. I just wanted to make sure y'all knew that.
Well, I would also say that we should probably get Jimmy to get that camera on them for a second,
The camera is much better served being on them than it is us.
Yeah.
That's for sure. So what an exciting weekend. I mean, I don't know if you want to touch on what got you involved in this thing this weekend, and then we'll get into the Good Fritz stuff. But
well, yeah, it's exactly how you explained it. You came to me before. I think you came to me a couple of Aquascellas ago and said, hey, this would be a great idea. Jake and I have been talking about doing a 5 reasons why saltwater is better than freshwater. You're obviously on the flip side of that.
Mm-hmm.
5 reasons why freshwater is better than saltwater. And I love that because really Aquascella has always been about bringing these two communities together. There's always kind of this seemingly thickness of differentiation
division
between the two. Division between the two.
Yep.
Like if you love freshwater, you cannot love saltwater. There's just no capable way. But that's just not true. I think it's more hype, and I think people shouldn't buy into that. I mean, only 10% of the American public have aquariums.
right.
If you have an aquarium in your home, you already have something in common with somebody that has saltwater or freshwater, and so you found your like person that respects aquariums, would like to put fish in there and build a home. And really, aquarium is peaceful thing. So I just think that there's no reason. That's just kind of silly. And I personally started in saltwater. I kind of ate the cake too. Where I like, hey, saltwater, we're elitists, right? Like we can do so much better.
Those silly freshwater guys.
But there's hard parts on both sides. Freshwater is pretty difficult as well. So, I loved your idea. Jake was super excited about it as well. He talked to me for like an hour and a half one evening about kind of how he was going to take it to you. And so,
and he did too.
But
he smeared me.
Secretly though, Jake was a very, very
avid freshwater keeper.
Yep. Right? But he, as owner of Reef Builders, he kind of has to, be that saltwater guy. And so you brought that to me. Unfortunately, Jake had his Reef Stock Australia at that time during the Dallas show, so he wasn't able to come to that one, but we did it in Chicago. It was fantastic. It was just standing room only in there.
It was packed.
And then just a massive applause at the end. So I didn't get to see it because I'm running the show.
I don't know if I mentioned it. Sean is the owner of Aquascella. I don't know if I mentioned that in the beginning, but it might make a little more sense why he's talking the way he is now. But
well, and yeah, I would say that,
50% owner,
right.
you and a partner, right?
Well, there's just so many people in Aquascella that make it happen, and so that always gets a little bit uncomfortable for me because I'm good at finding talent, good at finding great people to do things, and that's why I had to go get Jimmy, right? People expect greatness out of Fritz, out of Aquascella, and so you have to find the greatest people to be a part of that. And so your talk with Jake went amazing, and then I think there was an after period where you guys challenged each other to get more into each other's side of things, and unfortunately less than a couple of weeks after
12 days
after Aquascella, Jake passed and really shocked the world, and was heartbreaking to us all. And Jake was someone that had dreams and really saw the aquarium industry from a different lens than the rest of us, and I feel like it's been our responsibility as people that were friends with him, that were close, to remember those talks and to make sure that they happen. And so when you mentioned that to me, I was just like, well, we have to do this, right? So, and I get to come and see my buddy. I get to do a collab with Fritz's new YouTube channel. And so there's so many great things about it. And, if this wasn't something that was on your agenda, we would have been setting up a freshwater aquarium sometime soon. So
and that wouldn't have been a problem either. No, I mean, and it is, there's been so many people, it's not just Fritz, but so many people stepped up for this project. And that's what the interesting thing about it. Like, you asked me in the beginning, well, what were you going to do? And I said, listen, I told Jake, whatever, like I'm whatever you're going to do, I'm going to be happy with. I had no idea it was going to be something like this. I mean, this is a 240 gallon tank with the most advanced sump I've ever seen and a giant skimmer and like all the best. It's unbelievable. And you know, with the name Jake Adams attached to it, I think that inspired people to really go all out. All of the people involved in it. There's going to be several videos about this. I'm not going to be doing saltwater videos every week because, you know, a lot of people would be upset by that. But one of the agendas that Jake and I had was to expose everybody to everything. And so I want to start doing, as I learn this hobby, the saltwater hobby, which I know a thing or two, but as I learn it and I learn new things, I want to share that with you. And the guy sitting across from me is going to be the one that teaches me a lot of these things, and a guy that we're going to be spending some time with tomorrow, Mark from Aquariums Unlimited. That's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
So I already have people that have not only stepped up to sponsor this project, but also to help carry me along with this whole thing. So I've never been so much more excited. And you want to know what was the coolest thing ever? I just basically stood around and watched Sean put this whole thing together today. I had to help put it up on the tank, and he was kind of educating me. I'm used to being the one doing the majority of the work, and I like doing that kind of stuff. It's weird for me to step back and watch somebody else do it, but you took a hold of it, and it's come along really well. I don't know what's going on right now, but it's going to be an amazing thing when it's done. So
you got to get those ladders in position to get the right angle on those rocks. I mean, this is
it's already
a very particular. I mean, look at that rock that Evie's holding. I guess you can't see, you guys, but she's got a massive bridge that she's getting ready to put across these rocks, and
that's the one I'm worried about. That's a long drop of that big old rock down at the bottom. They're going to be fine. They're professionals.
I'm kind of nervous about it too. That's got to at least be 30 pounds.
It's a big one. They'll handle it. They're strong. They got it. It's no problem.
Evie's been doing scaping for years. She's actually immensely better than me at scaping.
And Lisa's way better than me. I mean, I can stack rocks, but there's an art to that I don't necessarily possess. So I can't tell you how excited I am. I mean, we could sit here and talk about this saltwater tank all day long, but you're not here to talk about that.
Yeah.
I mean,
whatever you want to talk about, honestly.
I promised my audience we were going to listen to. Look at them high-fiving.
It does look good. It does look good. So if we could only grab our live stream camera, but then we'd have to get it back into place.
It looks even better when you didn't have to do it.
But you'll see it on the video, right? Because Jimmy's getting a good angle.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there's
just wait for that.
I'm filming a video, several videos on it. Jimmy's here. He's magic with a camera. Jimmy's got the drone flying out today, and it's going to be some really, really cool videos on the Fritz channel and here. I think you're going to get at least 2 videos out of this weekend, right?
Right, yeah. I'm going to do a video of the entire tank setup. That'll be one video. And then we're going to do a video at Aquariums Unlimited and just kind of do a walkthrough there, get Mark on. I really liked and was kind of inspired by Jimmy's video on Aquarium Co-op of the Aquarium Co-op No Water Changes video. And he came in there, and it was just all about this store in San Francisco. And I was like, man, I don't even have to go. Sometimes I can just say, Jimmy, what's the next store you want to go to? And he will find a way to bring to life the aquarium stores or the owner's kind of vision of that place. And so we're going to do that tomorrow, right?
So there's a lot of people asking in the chat. Well, I've seen it in the chat. Jimmy, it was formerly with the Aquarium Co-op. He is now with Fritz. And people are asking because they're confused. Evie and Sean are a couple. And there's no confusion here. There's people asking. So yeah, there's that. And the reason why I stuttered there is because I didn't know if that was public information.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's my profile picture.
It is now.
But yeah.
Okay. Good.
We've been dating for a couple years now. So.
Well, I mean, I've known that, but I didn't know if that was like okay. So yeah, Sean and Evie are a couple. And obviously Lisa and I are. She still tolerates me. I don't really know why. But so, all right. So you, not only are you a guy that comes to North Carolina to set up a saltwater tank for a guy like me and a lady like Lisa, and not only are you one of the owners of Aquashella, but you're also, make sure I'm saying this right, the National Sales Director. Is that the title?
Yeah, I mean, Fritz is interesting with titles. Like, I'm just in charge of Fritz brand. You know, like everything that we do. Fritz is a chemical and engineering company, and it's really more of the focus on their,
Get that a little closer to
they're
your
about-
face.
you know, probably a team of 20 plus microbiologists and biochemists that work for Fritz. And we just specialize in production of whatever industry we're working with, what type of needs that they have to do the things that they want to do. And so we service agriculture, aquaculture, wastewater treatment, aquatics, professional aquatics, and even oil field. And so to try to make those things as safe as possible. And so I'm in charge of the division of Fritz brand, and my direct boss is in charge of all of specialty. And specialty is, you know, it makes private label products for the aquarium industry. It makes products for aquaculture, anything really aquatics related. And so I am the Fritz brand, head, and kind of started on that by myself like 7 or 8 years ago. And
the brand has blown up. I mean, you have
Luckily,
blown the
yeah.
brand up. I mean, it's become one of the bigger. What's the word I'm looking for? It's in the big leagues. It's one of the big. I mean, I don't want to mention other brands, but yeah, and you know, a lot of people don't know Fritz manufactures for other brands too. But
speak into it. Okay, thanks, Jimmy.
Sorry, that was. The microphone was actually, the arm was in the shot, but somehow you just made it not in the shot, so that's why it was to the side. But
It's that Jimmy magic.
yeah, no, actually you fixed it perfectly, so thank you. And when you're talking to Sean in person, you can hear him from 100 miles away, but when he's sitting here on camera, he gets very quiet and he talks. I don't know why that happens, but
I think it's just the positioning of the mic, but we can get louder.
I mean, we can fire it up in here. You asked me at one of the Aquashellas, you were walking around with your other camera guy, the former camera guy, and I see this. Somebody's already asking about it. You asked me what my favorite, or actually, you came to Jason and I, Primetime Aquatics, the twins. We were sitting there, and you asked us what our favorite products were, and I was upset because Jason answered first, and he stole my answer, which was Fritzzyme 7. I've never, in my entire time knowing the brand, thank you, Jimmy, I had a bottle here. Everybody knows this bottle. We can't keep it in stock. It's every time I order to replenish stock, I have to order this because it would be negligent if I didn't. This stuff sells so crazy, or sells like crazy. And so my question to you, I know the answer, but I want to hear it from him. Why?
Why does it sell?
Why is it as good as it? What? Tell me sell this product to me and tell me why it is so good. I know it is, but.
Well, I would say that it's legitimate nitrifying bacteria. Fritz is the largest producer of nitrifiers in the country for the aquarium industry, and we've been doing it since the 70s. And so it's kind of our trade secret of how we've developed these nitrifiers over time, and the way we process them down, the way that we package them, and really the honesty of the product. We don't try to oversell it and put a 3-year shelf life on it, or put a extremely high treats. I mean, if you think about it, you could put treats 3,000 gallons, but for what? We really want people to be successful with the product because its reputation will be based on the way it produces. And so I think that because of the way that we market it and the honest intention with the product to bring true success to the aquarium owner, because hey, if you mess this one up, the start of the aquarium, you're really
doomed.
going to do a lot of damage to that person's experience within the aquarium industry, your branding, and really kind of continue to diminish the hobby and belief in a product like that. And I think that was difficult for me at the beginning when I first started taking over the Fritz brand, because the reputation of nitrifiers in the aquarium industry was kind of down. Like, there's a lot of
Snake oil
products on there. Yeah, people like call me a snake oil salesman, and I'm like, well, no, not really. I mean, I had before I started working for Fritz, I worked for an aquarium store called Dallas North Aquarium for about 7 years, and we sold TurboStart, which is the refrigerated version of Fritzheim 7.
This is the saltwater version.
That's the saltwater version.
I wonder why.
Yeah, and that's just a refrigerated version of the product. It comes straight from Fritz to the retailer, and it's got a shorter shelf life but a higher amount of treats because you have more nitrifiers in there. And that's why the shelf life is shorter, because you've packed more nitrifiers in there. There's more activity in there. And so because it's legitimate, because we haven't sacrificed the promise of the product by over exaggeration, the consumer gets what it says. And so, I mean, like that little 16-ounce bottle of the Fritzheim 7 there treats 80 gallons. And it has a shelf life of 1 year. I think with some of the other competitor products that have been in the nitrifier world, there is a pressure to increase that, to say it treats more, to extend the shelf life. And that's just the nature of the beast with logistics and distribution. People, you have to warehouse this product, so temperature control is difficult. And so we just have to be careful about our distribution centers, who we partner with to get this product out, to make sure that it doesn't get too hot, that it doesn't freeze, because the moment that it gets past a certain temperature, it's going to start killing the product. The moment that it freezes, it's dead. And so, a lot of that might have been left unchecked. Or, hey, if you want to get into a big box store, logistics is difficult there. They really want to ensure that they're not stuck with product that is expired. And so there's a fear there of if the shelf life isn't long enough, then they don't want to bring the product on. And so then as a manufacturer, sometimes I feel like you're pressured to find ways to basically preserve that product for a longer amount of time. And I think every step in that direction slows the amount of response time of the nitrifiers, and then you're defeating the purpose, right? The reason why people want to use that product is because they want that immediate cycle. And so a lot of people don't like that, and they feel like you have to have that 30-day period of time where you sit with nothing in your aquarium, right? And I would say patience is key in the aquarium trade, right? But I would also say that Americans are not patient. And so when I was selling aquariums for 8 years, 7, 8 years at Dallas North Aquarium, the biggest pain for me is when I would set up, these families would come in there. It's like my favorite part of it. Honestly, I enjoy it more than anything that I do, is helping someone get an aquarium, because they're so happy. You're their favorite person. I swear there'd be very important executives that I would be the first person on their list to call. And if I ever called them, they would answer right away. And they're like, wouldn't answer to anyone else. I mean, they're running giant companies across the world. But I was Sean, the fish guy, in their phone, and I was their favorite person to talk to because they loved their aquarium. And so, but when I would set these aquariums up with people, the patience factor was zilch.
None.
They put it in their home. They want to get something in it. They go to another store, or they sneak back into Dallas North Aquarium while I'm not around and try to get a fish, because I've threatened them, do not come and get fish here. Because if you put it in too soon, the cycle is going to cause your fish to get sick, and then you're going to get ick in your aquarium because you're going to lower the immunity to the fish, and then now you have ick cysts in your aquarium, and now you've really, really done a number on your aquarium for the next several months. And so knowing that even if I could threaten them to the inch of their life before they left the store, I know that they're going to fail me, and they just, because of their passion for what they want to do. And then they're going to end up in trouble. And so when I found TurboStart and I saw how well it worked, it really was a great thing for me, because, and this is before I worked for Fritz, because now I could send them home with a bottle of TurboStart that would put the proper nitrifying bacteria in the aquarium to convert ammonia from nitrite to nitrate in less than minutes, really. And what that would do is let me get them some fish, something to put in there to kind of draw patience out of them. And I've had so much better success rate with that. And so the long answer to your question is, it's a great product, and it does help. Even if you are a naysayer with, hey, you should be patient. Yeah, you should be patient. But with TurboStart, you can still be patient. You can have some success right in the beginning. As your bio load increases, you can, add more turbo, or you can, as nitrifiers colonize into the rocks, they're going to grow on their own. And so after your initial kind of set in there, you're going to start growing bacteria in your substrate. You're going to grow bacteria inside of your filtration, your bioballs, and that's going to grow rapidly, and you'll be safe to add more fish. So I think it's absolutely essential and key.
I feel I've never worked at a pet store, but I mean, other than my own. Yeah, that's so weird that I said that because, I owned one for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
The most difficult thing, and I didn't have this at my store because we didn't sell tanks,
right.
But I would imagine working at a PetSmart or something like a Dallas North that has everything, tanks, fish. It's got to be one of those roll your eyes moments like, here it comes. I know we have the brand new family that just came in that wants to set up their tank. And if you tell them you cannot take fish home that day, which now you can, but good luck. Nobody's going to want to listen to that. And I know if I was in that position, I would just be like, oh, here it comes. Now I'm going to be the bad guy because I have to tell them, hey, listen, you really shouldn't do that. So, yeah, I feel bad for people in that position.
Honestly, it's just understanding their enthusiasm, really. And so to me, it never bothered me. It bothered me when they didn't follow the instructions, right? And it's tough because there's a million different ways to do it here. And I think that some of the educational books that are out there are a little dated. And so, each one of them says something a little different. Each person says something a little different. You really just kind of have to go to your local fish store, find an education center that knows your aquarium and stick with their advice. But, with a turbo, I wouldn't even advise that they take fish home that day either. I would, because there's so many other things that really turbo start's not going to fix. It's you need to make sure your temperature is stable, that your pH and other chemistry levels are correct. That you didn't forget to dechlorinate the water. Like a lot of rookie mistakes that happen.
Right.
And so I always say, hey, come back and see me tomorrow. Let me know your temperature. Bring me your water. Let me test your pH. Let's make sure everything else is in balance. Then we can add nitrifiers into an ecosystem or a brandly established ecosystem, and give you guys the nitrifiers that you need to keep that stable. So, yeah.
Now let me ask you an interesting one. Because I think, and I could be wrong, I think we're already talking about it just based on my numbers. What's the best selling freshwater product of Fritz?
It's by far nitrifiers. That's our
turbo and this, or is it this? Because for me, it's this.
It's Turbo Start. Yeah.
Okay.
Turbo Start, because probably my team pushes Turbo Start. I just feel more comfortable with Turbo Start because of the distribution factor. Sometimes I'm unaware of how this has been kept, if, you send it to different parts of the country and people will choose Fritz Time 7 because temperature control is difficult. Shipping it is difficult. On
That's
Turbo
why
Start.
I don't have Turbo Start. I mean, I wish I could, but
you could. You just have to have a refrigerator. And
well, we got those for the plants, but I still for the tissue culture plants, and we could get a refrigerator for it, but the shipping part of it,
it's not that bad. In fact, the newest research that we have at Fritz, and this is something I haven't even told you. So you're going to find out something
Breaking
today.
news, folks.
So what I wanted to do with Turbo, and really been looking at for the last few years, and that's why I trust this research because we've been doing it for a few years now. We don't want to jump into anything with a limited research in a very specific scenario. I've been bending Turbo Start to see its true capability, because as we continue to build this product, we strengthen it, right? Like we find ways to make it better and better. And these are nitrifiers. These are bugs that kind of evolve over time. And so these cultures have been uninterrupted for decades, and they just get very strong. So that's why even a brand new manufacturer of nitrifiers probably wouldn't have the same product as us. But I've been looking at Turbo and kind of, hey, let's set like 10 different, 20 different samples of Turbo. And I want them let's put them in refrigeration. Let's create them, put them in refrigeration. Let's take them out. How long until you start to lose your nitrifiers? And then how does it affect shelf life if you now put it back in refrigeration? Is it now not good after 6 months, or is like, how does that affect the shelf life? And ultimately, and then what temperature is the final straw? Like, when does it really start to be the cliffhanger, where it really starts to affect the life of nitrifiers? And what we found through this study, testing it at, 40 degrees, 50 degrees, 60 degrees, 70 degrees, 80 degrees, 90 degrees, 100, like, where does the drop off happen? We found that nothing happens between 40 and 90 degrees to limit this product. You can keep it between those ranges, and it, for up to a week, and it not drop off. And so you could ship it standard. The danger with that still, though, is through your shipping route, through any, I would say, what do you call it? Detour of the shipping. If you go into a cold zone,
stuff, yeah. Right.
So the longer that it ships, the more risk you have in some sort of major fluctuation, hot or cold, right? And
well, let me ask you this, because we use the it looks like tinfoil bubble wrap, and we buy them in little pouches, and that's what we ship plants in.
Mm-hmm.
Would that be? They're meant for shipping things that need to be cool or hot. Would that suffice, or would I need to put cold packs in there and stuff like that too? Or
depends on where you're shipping it to, right?
Shipping it from North Carolina in July to Old Mexico. Old Mexico? What?
Where is Old Mexico?
Where you come from, John?
That's just the standard Mexico now that you have New Mexico. New Mexico is no longer really new. So
not anymore,
now that should just be Mexico, and
it's
Mexico
been around
should be
for
Old
a while.
Mexico.
So let's forget the Mexico part. How about Nevada? How about that? We know
that's fairly far, right? So
and it's hot
and
in
it's
the
hot.
summer. So
that's what you'd have to consider, right? Like, where is it going? What's the temperature like on the route? And how likely is it going to be delayed? And you would pack based on that. And so if you pack cold packs in a place where it's going to be cold, then you might be doing more damage to that shipment. And if you, so you really just kind of have to know, and base your shipping off of that. And that's why I like TurboStart more, because I do ship it next day or second day. We at Fritz ship it next day, because
when I received this, it was in a cooler. And whenever you're done over there, Jimmy, this can go back in the fridge. I'm just saying. But Jimmy's such a huge help.
But it will be okay if you leave it out.
It will. We've proven that it'll be okay. But it was in a cooler, and it was like there was 2 cold packs in it. I think they wanted to make sure that it got. But I would assume they want to make sure
it's a high-profile influencer. So.
Well, whatever. But and I was like, if I had to go through all of that, that's like shipping a fish. But if it's the best-selling product, then
it's really not that bad. I would say that you just, I have people that ship, probably $10,000 worth of that product a month.
Okay, can you send me a supply, please, Evie? Can you get on that? Evie's my rep and sends me all of my Fritz products. I'd like to bring in TurboStart, please.
But it has a 6-month shelf life, not a year.
Okay.
But you don't have that problem because you sell out in weeks, right? And so.
And did you go, I don't think you did. Did you go into the bathroom in my barn when we were out there?
In your barn?
I'm not asking if he did
didn't.
anything weird. I'm just saying you didn't see the bathroom. We have a refrigerator in there that is completely empty.
Yeah. You just put it in there, and that's going to preserve it, and then you can ship it. I would say your best shipping method is going to be like some sort of priority. Going to get there within, 2-3 days, maybe 4.
That's no problem.
And then that the times of year to ship it too. Like, it may be better to ship Fritz time 7 during times of the year when it's much colder or much.
We
much
ship
hotter.
that year round. We never had. I mean, we did have one customer whose bottle froze. She was like, it was out on my porch and I didn't get it in time and it froze. I mean, and that's bad luck. But we haven't had complaints about Fritz time at all. But darling, can you put that in the? I'm talking to Lisa, folks. This isn't getting weird.
He still feels like he needs to be right back in the refrigerator.
I mean, we had the conversation 2 seconds ago, but I still, that's where it's supposed to be. I'm going to put it in there. So coming soon to KG Tropicals, folks. KeepFishKeeping.com.
So it is a great product. And, hey, it's trustworthy. Why would I risk the love of Fritz to tell you something just to sell you $10, $15, $20 product that's going to start you off the wrong way. I care much more about your fish and your success in the aquarium industry, your kids, how they're, like it. Imagine the disappointment that a kid has that, if you're a guy on this live stream, your wife that maybe doesn't love an aquarium, or if you're a woman and your guy wasn't that into it, but your significant other, let's say, that didn't quite love the aquarium as much as you have, and now you have a dying fish in there, they're just like horrifying.
I told you.
And
Yeah.
so, and it's heartbreaking, for a kid too. And so I'm not going to sacrifice our integrity as a brand right out of the gate, so that way you just hate everything else. We have like hundreds of products, and so you could trust that product, and it will shorten your time, and you're not going to a month later just get a disaster that happens. This is going to set you up for success. So without, I don't want this to be a big commercial though. So
well, no, I mean, my website is keepfishkeeping.com, and that's for the same exact reason that you're talking about. I'm trying to keep people in this hobby. Somebody stole kgtropicals.com from me. It's fine. I would have gone back with that, but keepfishkeeping.com.
Well, that's
it's
what we're
kind
here
of
to
our
talk
motto.
about. Is I knew that you were going to be huge, and as soon as you let that expire, I went ahead and grabbed that from you.
Well, then why don't you lower the price and stop being greedy and let me buy it back from you? I'll give you $10 right now.
$10. All right. I'm going to try to work on that. See if I can go buy it for. What are they trying to sell it for?
We'll talk about that after the stream.
That is so terrible.
Yeah, it's bad, and they're trying to get a lot of money for it.
But you know that they can't use it, right? Because you have probably a trademark around KG Tropicals, and you have a brand. If anyone uses it to create brand confusion, you can get that right back. And so,
anyway, there's another product. This is the question. It's coming because we've already talked about it. There's two, maybe more brands out here, and it's the same with both of them, or any of them that I've ever experienced. When you have the water conditioner that is, without, no pun intended, the complete water conditioner, meaning it detoxifies ammonia, nitrite, nitrate, dechlorinates the water, does all of that. That comes with the smell of rotten eggs.
Yeah, I will say, to some more sensitive than others, right? Like, I would say I remember that change many years ago when, Amquel was the water conditioner. Remember that? It was all Amquel, right?
I used that, yeah.
And then out comes Prime, right? And that has the same active ingredient that Complete does, right? And you used to open up Amquel and you don't smell anything at all, but then all of a sudden Prime, it had this smell, and you're like, what is that? And it's really the active ingredient. I believe that's sodium formaldehyde bisulfate, right? And that's a sulfur smell, and that's just part of the ingredient there. And that active ingredient is what does the magic, right? That's what dechlorinates. That's what detoxifies the ammonia, the nitrite, the nitrate. But I remember in that moment, it was there was a change in the aquarium industry going from Amquel to Prime, and really what it was that was the downside was that active ingredient, sodium formaldehyde bisulfate, also, once it runs through those elements there, if there's no remaining, then it goes after oxygen, right? And so then there was some people that were still dosing Prime at the time, like Amquel, and or I remember Amquel responded, and I believe it was like Dr. Rofan that came out with that Amquel formula. And they came out with Amquel Plus, but then people bought Amquel Plus and dose it like Amquel, and that's when you saw it attack that oxygen. So that's what is that smell. In short, I know you didn't ask that much detail.
Well, no, that's what I want. That's why I wanted you on here, was because you're going to go into that kind of a detail.
Yeah, I'm talking.
And ladies, I got to tell you something.
That is fantastic.
I love that so much, and I'm not just saying that because I'm being nice. That is absolutely gorgeous. Look at that.
There is.
I assumed we were just going to be talking about an arch. Evie's from the St. Louis area. We're just going to be talking about an arch, which I would have been completely fine with. But
Kansas City.
What?
Kansas City.
Why did I?
I mean, it's the same state.
You're close to St. Louis. Whatever.
It's all in Missouri. Right, and have you
it
noticed? It
confuses me. There's a Kansas City, Missouri, and I don't understand.
Have you noticed where the big cities lie in Missouri?
No.
So I have a joke here. It really offended a lot of people, but I'm gonna go ahead and let it.
Oh, please, let's do that.
Yeah, right here. And it is just a joke because my girlfriend does live in Missouri, and I love her very much. And so it's like, obviously, I'm joking, but the biggest cities lie right on the edge, like they're trying to get out. Let us out of here.
That's fun. She lives 3 hours from St. Louis. I was talking about somebody that I know that lives in St. Louis, a couple of people actually. And I said, are you close to there? She said 3 hours. So I was confused about that. And I don't even remember why I was saying that. What was I talking about?
You were saying that, look at this beautiful rock stack. Evie from St. Louis.
Yeah, it was the arches.
I thought it was going to be the arch, the St. Louis arch.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be the arch. And so to look back
There is an arch.
and see 2 arches,
Yeah.
that's amazing. And I love that hole right there.
Yeah,
I can
that's
see my,
unusual.
I was just about to say, I can see my angelfish.
You know why she has the double arches in there, right?
McDonald's?
Because I like McDonald's.
Because she loves chicken nuggets.
More than one.
Because Dallas
True.
has a bridge with 2 arches now.
Okay.
And she's become a Dallasite, really.
Oh, yes.
And so
But you're not going to root for that football team, though.
We're gonna only
Her team's going to be playing in red jerseys on Sunday.
no,
But,
we're white. We have to be white.
well, whatever. It's a red and white team. We don't have to get technical here. But no, seriously, that looks gorgeous. I love it. And I could not have done that. Now, here's the question. Do I need to secure with this? We may want to use this. This is an epoxy that when it cures, it's supposed to be the same color as the rocks. So very, very cool. We might be using that tomorrow. Or are we going to fill it up tonight? I guess we're filling it up tonight.
yeah, let's fill it up tonight. We'll add
after the
turbo
stream.
tonight. That way we can check parameters tomorrow. Now that epoxy there that you just held up, you're probably not going to have to use it. And the reason why is because I'm looking at that stack and there's only a couple of pieces I'd be suspicious of, but really I think epoxy is more used in reef aquariums because they're trying to get coral to stay in one spot.
Oh, okay.
And so I think that if it was a coral tank and you're going to be wedging coral in there on a consistent basis, you would look at the most suspicious pieces there and try to get them down because inherently you're going to try to stick a frog spawn somewhere or something with a branch, or you're going to try to put a brain coral and just kind of wedge it in so it doesn't move. But I think that you're probably not going to have to touch that stack.
Okay. Well, and I have to talk about this. I have to talk about this because Carib Sea sent me like 12 boxes of that rock,
Yeah.
and that stuff is not cheap.
Thank you, Judd.
Thank you, Judd. Yes.
And Carib Sea. He's the representative.
Absolutely. And they've been so good to me throughout the years, too. I mean,
Isn't he like the nicest guy?
He is. I did a project back in 2013. They sent me a pallet of stuff for the first 240 gallon that I had. But when they sent all of this rock, I wanted to have it ready for when they were here. So I took it all out of the boxes, and every single piece is individually wrapped. I unwrapped them all, and I put them all on this table over here. I'm going to steal Sean's camera because it's the closest.
Hey,
I'm going to put it right back. Don't
I
worry.
can move your camera.
That's okay.
trying
I'm
to
the
take my
director
camera
here,
time.
pal. This table was full of this rock. I mean, it's a 6-foot table, and I'm pretty sure I showed it to my channel members, and look at it now. Just a few little bits. That, ladies and gentlemen, is what I call an efficient use of materials. I thought when we go to set up Lisa's reef tank someday, soon, hopefully, I thought we're going to have plenty left. That doesn't look like we
We have to
are.
be nice to Judd.
I guess so.
Judd will
have to
send you more.
Give him a big old hug when I see him in Dallas. I mean, I see him at every Aquashella. I'm assuming he would be there, right? Is he already signed up
Do
to
you
be
want a
there?
story about Judd that's fun?
Please.
You said you want this talk show to be just hanging out, right?
Let's have some fun, yeah.
So you guys want to hear good stories. So
Judd McCracken, that's how you pronounce his last name, right?
Judd McCracken.
He is the Carib Sea guy.
Have you know what a McCracken is?
I know what a Kraken is.
Yeah.
It's the Seattle hockey team, but I also know that it's the big underwater.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So you don't want to upset Judd, right? He goes from nice, and it's like Jekyll and Hyde, you know?
I'm glad to know that. I've never had him be anything but nice to me, but
Me
it's good
neither,
to know.
but that's what I'm worried about because of his last name. I've never seen it happen, but I don't want it to happen to me.
Okay.
And so Judd donates all of the rocks and scapes for not only the saltwater stuff at the Scape Off, the setups at Aquascaping, which is a lot, right? So I mean, these are pallets of rock, but he also does the freshwater stuff, the driftwood, the stone, and one year we had Kevin Berta from Top Shelf Aquatics, great guy, but he was using a different brand of rock, and he was more comfortable with that brand because he's been using it for so long. And the rock was a little lighter, right? And so he wanted the edge, right? He wanted to be able to like maybe extend those branches out just a little further to get the edge on the wind, right? So he said, can I use my choice of rock? And, you know, being a Scape Off, I was like, well, sure. Like, I don't want to make you have to use a brand, but at the same time, Judd sponsors it for so long, and really you want to even the playing ground. So I made the mistake of being like, okay. And he brought that rock, and then the other contestant was like, this isn't fair. And he was like, I want to use the same thing as him, and he used it as well. And Judd came to the Scape Off, and I was watching, and I was sweating bullets, and I was like, oh God, Judd, I'm so sorry. I told him they could do this. This is all my fault. And he just looked so disappointed in me. And I'm like, it'll never, ever happen again. But, you know, and I think that, you know, it was just more to try to shock people. Everyone been using the Carob Sea product, and he wanted to do something to make his look a little different. And honestly, after a year of that product, you know, people went back to the Carob Sea anyways because it kind of proved itself, right?
Absolutely.
But yeah, that was kind of
That's funny.
The moment with Judd.
Can we talk about those?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Uh-huh.
Because somebody, I was not being rude earlier when I had my phone out. I wanted to type this out and make sure it was okay with Sean to talk about this first, because somebody asked in the chat, did they see a Fritz master test kit?
Yeah, they didn't see it here.
No, I didn't see it here.
Because it's not
What
out
would they
yet.
have seen here that they...
I don't know.
Maybe they saw it. It didn't even occur to me that they might be thinking they saw it here. You did not see that. I see what they saw. They saw that refractometer, the back of it.
Oh, okay.
It might be blocked by the lights. The back of that box kind of looks like a test kit. So no, that's not what you saw. But
It was a premonition.
Fritz will be introducing one. I've been bugging Sean about it, and Evie, because Evie is my sales rep. When are we going to be able to have these? You're coming out with a master test kit.
Yeah, and every individual one as well. And so, I mean, these things, I mean, you think it's terrible, the wait, once I tell you that it's coming. It is worse for me. Like, I've been working on these test kits with Fritz for like 3 years. I remember when we got the samples in of the test tubes with the little Fritz brand on it. Oops. And I was like so excited about a little glass test tube with and I was like, it's coming. and because it's something that's highly requested. A lot of people trust our brand. A lot of stores want to use us exclusively. And there it comes down to the test kit, and we're a chemical engineering company. Like,
yeah, you better have one.
And in fact, my very first day at Fritz 7-8 years ago, we were testing test kits, and they were showing me products that had a very good shelf life, had a very good accuracy, and it just takes time for all the parts and the pieces and the testing long term. And we finally returned back to getting these out, and that's going to be released by Q2, so April 1st. You know, it could be a little sooner, could be a little bit later because of, you know, it just always happens to us. But these test kits are sharp. They're highly accurate. Sharp, I mean, they look awesome. Like, the packaging is amazing. Nice. That's something that I care about, right? Yeah. But then they're accurate, and they're easy. So if you're familiar with the API test kit, that's something that is kind of industry standard.
And it sells so fast.
So
I mean,
it's a great product, and you know, as is a lot of products in this industry, you know, when we see something great, we want to do that as well and improve upon it. And you know, we feel like we have, and we feel like it's going to be something that's priced very similarly, and that we've done the proper amount of quality control on it to feel like it's going to come in and be very popular very quickly. So our test kits will be out by April 1st.
Nice.
Yep.
I am looking forward to that. And that, I mean, I've used the test kit from API since 1993.
Me too.
I mean, you know.
I could do it with my eyes closed.
Yeah, and it is a great product. I sell that product on my website. It's one of
Yeah.
only a couple of API products that I can even get that I sell on the website, and I'm happy to sell it. I am loyal to Fritz,
Yeah.
and I imagine since I'm able to call up Evie and say, "Hey, send me, 60 of those," we can make that happen. You better make that happen. She doesn't even know what we're talking about. That will replace the API when it's available. It'll be on our website. As soon as it's available, I better be one of the first ones.
You'll actually get it a good month before it is, because
Good.
we'll send it. One thing that we use John for, and rightfully should, is testing our products. I mean, for him to come on his channel and actually recommend it, you have to trust it yourself.
I have to use it regularly, and
So-
almost everything we promote, we use.
So we'll send it to you, and actually we're going to be sending you some other stuff too, right? Like we were talking last night about plant line, and we have something that we've been testing for the last. This stuff takes forever, 2 years, and if you're familiar with Scott Crow from Ocean State Aquatics, he has 3 stores there in Rhode Island. He's also on the Fritz team. He created this brand here, the Max Out, right?
I love Scott. He's
and
awesome.
He's just a great guy, and
He is.
he's just so enthusiastic. He's honest, and the energy is insane.
One of the best talks I ever did at one of your shows. If you just joined us, one of the owners of Aquascaping, Scott introduced me,
Right.
and it was like, whoa! It was like crazy, and I was
follow
like,
this?
how am I supposed to go up there? Like, I'm this quiet, not quiet, but kind of chill, laid back guy, and he's up there doing backflips and screaming, and I'm like, whoa!
He's not really like that, though. The funny thing about Scott is he has 2 levels: very calm, this calm,
And extreme.
and then extreme. And I think it's the nervousness. Like he has to try to push that personality out to get away from being nervous on camera or in front of a bunch of people. And so he has it just goes.
He turns it on full
breaks
steam.
it, just goes all the way, and I love it because the energy is amazing. But it can be a little bit loud for some people, but that's not really Scott. He's very intuitive. He's very dedicated to understanding this hobby and loves it with the bottom of his heart. And so he tested the plant line for me for the last year, and he's been getting incredible growth. And we'll be sending that to you shortly, and hopefully
Nice.
right around in April we'll have that as well. So-
Awesome. You want to shift gears to Aquashella a little
Sure.
bit here?
Yeah, I've got questions. Let's
I mean-
let these guys take it wherever they want to.
Well, it's hard to listen to you and be respectful and not like off in
Cut me
another
off.
world, and then actually follow the chat too, because
Mhm.
I don't want to be disrespectful to you. You're a big timer. I don't want to do that, but I mean, and I don't know that there's any more.
I'm
questions.
rounding the corner with 4,000 Instagram followers, so
Hey, look at this
that
guy.
is
He is
big time.
Now, I don't know if it's a sore subject, but people do need to know this. We did lose a show this year.
Mhm.
We're losing Chicago.
Maybe not.
Huh?
Maybe not. We just don't know yet.
Well, okay. Hey, you heard it here first.
I
But
mean,
we're definitely getting Dallas again, which is your hometown, which makes total sense, and that's always the biggest show every year. But we're moving to Daytona this year.
yeah. Ask your
excited.
questions. You guys can pick my brain about anything you want. I feel like there's just this I'm just a regular person, just like anyone else, like you guys.
He is not. He's larger than life, folks.
No.
Come on.
I'm 5'6".
But he's
So-
larger than life, and he's also late for everything. You need to know that. But
Just this morning.
Lisa and I have spent the majority of this weekend waiting for Sean and Eddie, and waiting for Jimmy because he flew to the wrong airport. But
This was this was an outlying situation. I will not stand for this accusation.
it's not rude if it's true. If it's true,
Just so
it is not
happened to
rude.
have happened. See, what happened was
See, I go off like that, and I totally lose my train of thought. But okay, they're talking over there.
Yeah.
She's explaining how our 19-year-old booked his own flight, and he went to the right airport.
so now.
Jimmy,
yeah, she's
yeah.
bragging. Making
Yeah,
Jimmy
he's
feel
a smart
bad right
kid,
now.
You know, he's in the Navy. He's a sailor serving
Lisa,
our
don't
country.
be so mean to Jimmy.
She was just saying our 19-year-old son is so much better than him. That's all she was saying.
Listen, booking your own flights is difficult for some people. It just I remember when I first did it, I did the same thing. I just didn't book the wrong airport. I booked the wrong date. It was at my
yeah.
first big company, and I was.
So it was destined to happen because you did the same thing.
All of these types of things happen right in the beginning because you're just learning a new wave. So I wasn't upset.
So anyway, one of the things that a lot of people talked about with Aquascaping at the Gaylord was, wow, what an amazing event. And we're talking about the Gaylord in Orlando. One of the nicest places I've ever been in my life. A little pricey though.
Yeah.
And Daytona is going to help that out a lot, correct?
I don't know.
Okay.
Because it's on the beach. I mean, it's Daytona. I mean, I think that, Orlando has a big buzz to it, right? It's Orlando, right? It's also the Gaylord, also has a.
It's like an amusement park. I mean, a resort. It's
the
unbelievable.
Gaylord is definitely for high-end conventions, and we were lucky to get the Gaylord. We can get the Gaylord back at some point one day, but with the Gaylord, I mean, if you guys want the honest answers, just ask the tough questions. It's not hard to explain. Gaylord Palms, they have a very high-end clientele. They're an amazing facility, and that's a very expensive operation system for them to have. And so their prices have to be higher to keep up with their costs, right? And we were able to get in there at a reasonable price for a couple of years at the tail end of COVID when conventions were, just now getting back out. And luckily, we got an opportunity to have the convention there. But, the Gaylord, and honestly, we wouldn't have gotten it if it wasn't for the fact that the people that run that facility have aquariums themselves. So
How about that?
they have aquariums themselves. The Gaylord also has saltwater ponds and freshwater ponds, and they really fit the mold of Aquascaping. And they said, please come back, right? But you have to work with our schedule because they're bringing in really high-end conventions there that bring them a lot of money. They're not trying to make a lot of money off Aquascaping, the Gaylord, because they do like us as people. And we're an aquarium show, right? We don't want to charge, $100 to get in. We don't want to charge, $200, $300 for a VIP package. We really love the hobby. It's not all for profit. It's just to be a community show. And
let me clarify. When I said saving a little money, I didn't necessarily mean on tickets to the show. I was talking about if you want to stay at the event, at the hotel that the event's at and stuff. That's probably going to be a little cheaper than the Gaylord, right?
And the Gaylord worked with us on that too. And that's the thing. I'm not sure we will save money because the Gaylord really tried very hard to get our prices where we needed to on the rooms. And I felt like we were almost a bit of a charity to them at times because they were just like, we love your show. We want you to have it. It brings popularity to our facility as well. And, right now it was tough to get conventions in their place. So we were getting less than $200 hotel rooms at a facility that is $500, $600 a night. It was incredible. In fact, if you booked outside of our room block, you were going to pay $500 or $600 a night at the Gaylord. So I don't think that you'll see much savings from what we were able to accomplish with the Gaylord because of how nice they were. They're great people, and we'll try to go back one day when they can fit within our schedule, right? Because we want to have our show kind of consistently within a time frame, right? And they need us to be flexible. And so if we can find some alignment with them in the future, we might. But honestly, the Ocean Center in Daytona had so many good things that we wanted to try out. It's a 90,000 square foot facility. We sell out of booths every show. We sometimes sell out of tickets, and we've sold out of tickets in Dallas several times. We've sold out of tickets in Chicago several times, and it's terrible. It's never a good thing. It's great to see that many people show up and see lines get that long, and you feel great, very special. People want to get in, but when someone can't get in, it's heartbreaking for them, and we don't want to see that in the future. So we went with something that was bigger, something that was tailored to aquatics, the Ocean Center right off the beach.
Yeah,
it's
can't do
only
better than that.
55 minutes from Orlando Airport. And honestly, there was also a factor of we want people to be focused on our show, right? And Orlando is very distracting. There's Disney World, there's Universal. And hey, if you want to go to Disney World or Universal, you can still after going there. But we've got a hotel that we think we're going to go with right there off the beach that's going to have really nice rooms. It's probably going to be around that $180 a night price. I mean, you have had inflation, guys. I mean, those days of $129, $139 hotels
Right.
are just not happening anymore because the dollar is worth less, right? And so as that inflation happens, so do prices. And so we're going to try to keep them low. We, a lot of times these convention centers and hotels will give kickbacks to a show like ours. For the most part, we do not take that kickback unless the price was just so good that, hey, it's going to help us kind of run our show to have something like that. But we never did at the Gaylord. And we didn't in Chicago. We didn't. We're not this coming Dallas show. We're not taking a kickback on the hotel room. It's really to try to keep these prices low for people traveling in for our vendors. And so you will save a little money. It is at the Daytona. The reason why it's at Daytona is because we wanted to try something new. We needed more space so that we didn't have to leave people out. And there's vendors that get left out too when the booths are sold out. And then so when you lose a vendor, what if it's a placostomus person? What if it's a cichlid person or someone that specializes in discus or someone that specializes in axolotls or starfish or I mean even Aquascaping, we keep our booth prices low because we look at the vendor as our partner to come to the consumer, and we're hundreds of dollars less than other aquarium shows around. And
We were talking about that earlier today. Some of the tickets are outrageous.
Some people are like, well, why don't you just raise your booth prices? Because you can. And I'm like, because you still can't. Because when you do that, you're gonna push out that special, catfish or angelfish vendor that doesn't have the same margins, and it's really expensive and difficult for them to come to the show. So it's already expense. Then they're selling things that are $20, $30. They can't possibly sell enough of those to turn a profit. And so you start raising prices to the max, you're going to lose what makes Aquascaping special. And that is the magic of Aquascaping is the people, the vendors, the art. There's so much. I mean, I feel like I get a lot of credit for it, but I'm really just kind of the person that just finds the amazing people. And I travel for a living, right? I get to go everywhere with Fritz, and I meet the most amazing people. And so that's why
This guy's never in the same place longer than 3 days, and then he's gone. Unless it's Aquascaping week, you're there for a week.
I'm here for 4 days, John.
Okay, 4 days, sorry.
That's a long time for me in one place.
Lisa and I, because we moved here, because we're running a business, it's just the two of us, we don't vacation. Aquashellas for us are like vacations.
Right.
So the fact that it's a new place, Daytona Beach, that sounds really cool. 'Cause, I mean, we've been to Orlando several times now. It's beautiful. I love it. It's amazing. And Dallas is a lot of fun. I would have never been able to ever visit Dealey Plaza had I not gone to the Aquashellas in Dallas. Might not be a big deal to you because you grew up there, but me, that was like, even though it's a morbid thing, it was special to be able to go to something like that and go through the museum. I would have never traveled to Dallas just to do that. I'm certainly not going to go there to watch the football team. Not even in the Fritz box, if you probably have one up there. But now, if you have a box at the Mavericks, I'd go to that. But
we do have a box at the Mavericks. We have club seats at the
I was
Cowboys.
totally joking, but it's true.
But you can't come. I mean, Fritz has been around for a very long time and probably secured those things a long time ago. But, we do try to give those to our clientele that, have us, a good time.
I would love to do that.
And so,
But then you need to make sure you organize an Aquashella in Dallas during basketball season.
just do it for this, okay?
But you mentioned 90,000 square feet, which I mean, I understand square footage. That's big. But how big is the Dallas Market Hall?
60,000. So
What?
this is going to be 50% bigger.
Oh, wow.
This is going to be a mega show, a mega Aquashella.
That's nuts.
And so Aquashella mega.
And now we're talking about Daytona's 90,000 square feet.
I look at Jimmy for approval on my jokes.
The Dallas is the same location it's been the last 2 years.
Yeah, I love that place.
And it's great. Yeah, it's awesome.
And that's why we went with Daytona as well. Because Gaylord is great, and there are absolutely zero complaints about it because they were so respectful to us.
I love that place so
much. But they absolutely have a different level of how they do things there, and it's a hotel, and this is a convention center, and the convention center is more flexible. It's built for the ins and outs of different types of shows, like concerts and things. And so they will let us do more. And if you've been to a Dallas show, it looks different than the Orlando show because we do the big screen TV. We
Yeah.
do more things on our own. And the cost is less, and there's not as many restrictions. And so we can do more for you at the Daytona in the spirit of art and things like that than we can at the Gaylord.
90,000. I mean, 30,000 square feet more than what you have now. I mean, that's unbelievable. Now, there's a lot of people that have put in questions, and without a doubt, the most common question whenever I bring up Aquascella is, when is there going to be an Aquascella at fill in the blank?
Yeah.
Is there ever going to be any more? I mean, everything's up in the air, right? I mean, you're not going to commit to anything.
It just depends, right? It's just it is a celebration for the industry, and it isn't something that, you know, me as the owner or George as the owner are making just a lot of money to do. And when George has his channel, Coralfish 12G, and has done an amazing job traveling the world, that consistently takes more of his life. And me with Fritz, and I have 2 kids, and it's a lot of work. And think about everyone that does it too. It's not just George.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, these are people that take a week off from their life to go set up this event. And most people get 2 weeks of vacation a year. So what does that mean? Like they don't go anywhere else. So every time they have a vacation, they go do Aquascella. And so I'm not sure we want to bring a third show into the platform because of that. Because it's a twice a year show. It's not a consistent job for somebody. These are people that all do something else for a living, and we're getting together to celebrate with everyone else. And you know, to do 3 and 4 and 5, it just kind of
burn everybody out.
It does. It's a massive thing. That aqua crib is absolutely so difficult.
You won't let us in there while it's being built, and I understand that. But when you walk through that, it's like, I can't imagine how much work this was. Like, this is next level stuff here.
The people that deserve the respect are like the Michelle Albrights, the Nori Volsons, the Will Kents, there's a team of like 15 people of artists that put that aqua crib together, and it is very difficult, and they're working like, 10, 12 hours per day to get it done. And
I've been there with you at like 1 a.m. and they're still in there.
Yeah, you and Jason.
It's like, what? Jason and I were going to do a fun thing and Sean gave us the green light to do it, but we just never got the opportunity to do it. But we went in there.
You can't talk about it, because then it won't be a surprise when you do it.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
But we were going to make a video in there after hours, and we went in there. It was like 1 a.m. we went in. You and Evie were in there making hoodies.
Yeah.
Friday night, and we didn't end up making the video. We stood there and talked to you for half an hour while you were making hoodies, but and you were gracious enough to give me one of those hoodies, and that was very nice of you. Thank you. I still wear it. Huh?
Where is it?
It's in my office right now. You can't see it from here, but it's in the house. I still have it. And she frowns every time I wear it. She's like, I didn't get one. But I think it was one of the shows that she wasn't able to go to.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
So I was like,
the very first one you went to, you guys came together, and it was your anniversary or something.
Yeah. Well, no, it was right after we got married. That was Orlando 2021.
Yeah. I assumed you guys were already married, so I announced you and her as John and Lisa Hudson.
And we were.
Not yet when I announced it, though.
Yeah, the show was on Saturday. We got married that Wednesday.
Right.
And yeah, so it was. We spent our honeymoon at your show. It was a beautiful thing.
I'm sorry, Lisa.
No, it was great. Like I said, we use you for our vacations. That's what we do.
There you go. Well, we're lucky to have you, John, because honestly,
don't start doing all that now. Come on.
I mean, there's influencers and there's educating influencers. There's ones for entertainment. I really respect people that get on to educate people and what they're doing. You might get more views to be silly. You might get more views to go on an adventure that doesn't get you the opportunity to teach as much. And so I really like places like yours and Aquarium Co-ops and Jason's and Tanner's and Zinzo's, where you guys are really taking the time to fully explain things. In fact, with my page, the Fritz YouTube, right? I recently filmed with Tanner a month ago, and
Biggest video on your channel too, isn't it?
Right.
It's-
And because of Tanner. And
Well,
so, but
I'll be
you know,
fine if mine is number 2. Jimmy, you need to work on that. I mean, come on now.
Jimmy's going to make it happen. But, you know, they slowed down. And, you know, I travel with George a lot. He moves at a very fast pace, and that's what he has to do for the types of content that he's gonna try to bring in one single video. But I really like slowing it down, taking the time to educate, fully explain things. So in this video, we went slower, right? And so I'm excited about the video. In fact, you know, we not only went slower, but we brought in Jimmy, and so it's just going to be a massive improvement. So
I've worked with a lot of cinematographers. I've never seen people do what Jimmy does, and I mean that in the most respectful way, like the most complimentary way. He's down on the ground and he's jumping up and he's he's all over the place, and I'm the guy that's just like this with my camera, and he's all over the place. I'm really looking forward to that video coming out, and I'm also looking forward to the fact that I get to use some of that footage. So that's going to be really, really cool. I do have to shout out a couple of people here that have been coming in. Christian's Amazing Animals is a new member, but he's been a member before. So, but thank you. Welcome back. Welcome, whatever it is. We're all good. Thank you so much. Jeff H. Didn't poop on us today, by the way, Lisa. He said, howdy fish people, finally got my bubble status. Wow, time flies. That means 2 years as a channel member. That's a big deal. Now, wait a minute. We got somebody pulling a fast one on us here, because Ligate 12 changed his name to Odin Aquatics. I think. Because I see the avatar, and it's the same guy. Sent in a super chat in need of my 6-foot Lumilite. Oh, and what is that word? Epistolis sucks. That's all. I don't know what that means, but the 6-foot Lumilite, we just started selling Tulio's lights, his freshwater lights, the Lumilites, selling them like crazy. He makes a 6-foot version. We don't carry the 6-foot version because it would cost me $3,000 to ship a 6-foot version. So how about this? Buy 2 3-footers.
there you go.
There you go. And it'll cost you less money than a 6-footer too. Leslie Perry, I've been taking snails out of my... Here we go. His name is Sean Snails, folks.
How did they know?
I don't know. There's something weird going on here. I've been taking snails out of my smaller tanks to feed to my loaches and in my larger tanks. How is this so horrifying and satisfying at the same time? I'm so conflicted. Please make me feel better about it. I don't think you're going to do much of that.
This is not the time. She doesn't know I'm Sean Snails.
She does not know that you're Sean Snails.
Yeah. This is the wrong time. What's her name?
Leslie Perry.
Leslie
huge
Perry.
supporter of our channel. Go easy on her now. She is a huge supporter and a customer on our website.
So those were pest snails, right? So those were snails
Right.
that she wanted out anyways.
I would imagine,
right?
yeah.
I mean, hey, it's I make her feel better about it. Okay, they're pest snails. You need to get rid of them. Hey, it's a natural thing for loaches to eat snails. So you're only doing what's right.
Circle of life. One of the two of them
you're okay.
just said that. Circle of life. It is what it is.
Because the snails are going to eat the plants or, cause problems within the aquarium. So the loaches are preventing the plants from dying.
My wife might call an attorney and be ready for divorce after I say this because she also loves snails. It doesn't bother me when people do that with snails. And don't you dare, because I know what you do behind the scenes. I'm not going to say it.
You're getting in trouble.
I know. She is overrun with snails right now. When I see people feed snails to fish puffers, for example, that thrive on snails, it doesn't bother me like it does watching a fish eat another fish. That doesn't bother me.
Like
Snails-
feeder fish.
Right. Or, yeah, well, of course, yeah. I mean, I'm very much against
The feeder
feeder
fish.
fish. My 5 goldfish in that tank started out as 10-cent common goldfish.
You saved them.
They were Lisa's.
You gave them life.
Right. So that's been our thing all along. We hate that, not only because it's mean, but it also provides nothing to the fish. We're not going to get into all that. What I'm saying is it really bothers me to see people do that. It doesn't bother me with snails because I don't know. I love snails.
Why are you so snailists?
I'm not. I like snails. I do. But it's not the same to watch a puffer eat a snail. That's different than watching a Oscar, which I love Oscars, obviously, eat a goldfish. You are looking
It's
at me
worse.
like you want to murder me, and it's scary.
Worse. when a Oscar eats a feeder fish, you don't even see it. But when a puffer eats a snail, he chomps his shell, and then the shell comes out of his mouth like the Cookie Monster on a cookie. It's
Lisa just told him, turn the light off and walk away.
they make half shells that are frozen. Use
Well, those snails used to be alive too.
freeze
just so you
dried
know.
real fast.
But anyway, Leslie, don't feel
Flash
bad
frozen,
about
I mean.
it. That was a $20 super chat too, by the way. Don't feel bad about it. I mean, it is what it is. Again, if you were saying I feed my Oscar, 25 guppies a week, I'd be having a different conversation with you. But letting them snack on some snails that are becoming a pest, that is what it is. Don't beat yourself up over it.
Where would you take them anyways, though?
Sean does not want to let this go.
Where would you take them anyways? Like,
Oh,
where,
yeah,
is there
that's
a place
true.
for pest snails? So you'd have to throw them out, put them in a. You can't put them in a pond. That's probably illegal because you don't want to put.
Right.
You know,
you can cause a huge problem there.
So where else would they go?
When we're done
This is
streaming,
probably-
you got to go take a look at her 15-gallon tank in there that is just wallpapered with snails. It's
Right.
outrageous. It's a lot in there. Catwoman VA, I gave Aquariums Unlimited a few buckets of molly fry, various ages, about a year and a half ago. The cichlid tank in the front is awesome. Love the OBs. I'm looking forward to seeing that tank. I know Mark, the owner of Aquariums Unlimited, but I've never been to his store. I met him at Aquascaping.
Yeah.
We had a nice long conversation. Chris Klein, the owner of Carolina Aquatics, introduced me to him. And I'm really, really looking. I talked to him for like 45 minutes on the phone the other day. Great guy. Has a very similar approach to fish keeping that I do. And explained to me, hey, listen, if you're going to be putting this on video, you have to do this right. And I said, you're my guy. Not you. You're my guy too. But I said, Musabi. And I will make sure that I steer these people in the right direction. Let me get this real quick. Glass. Let's try again. Glass Box Hero. Glad to see you guys on live stream again. No, first time. I'm excited for you to jump into saltwater, but I thought of it first. Yeah, well, you know what? A lot of people. I tried to keep it a secret that I
Right.
was doing saltwater, and it didn't stay a secret for very long. Kendall Cook, I got my plants and shirts today. I love the plants so much that I placed another order after planting them all. Just fantastic. Look at that. Thank you. Tropica plants flying out the door. You've been here for 2 days. You haven't even gone into the plant room yet. We have to change that at some point.
You're making me do all the work on your saltwater current. Remember how you said you didn't have to do anything earlier, and I did all of it?
I mean, you volunteered for this.
Do we want to talk about the hot air gun?
Oh,
Yeah, he almost killed me today with a heat gun. It was horrible.
You know?
I seriously thought I was going to melt like the guy at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
the little ways you can get back at someone for making you do the majority of the work.
I want to ask you a question that has to do with this absolutely gorgeous 240-gallon soon-to-be saltwater tank. Sean mixed up the salt water over there. I've got a bunch of things full of water over there. He mixed it all up for me. We're going to fill it up after the stream. I had a conversation with Jake Adams a year ago, and I told him I have always wanted a foxface rabbitfish. I don't care which one. I know there's several varieties. Any of them, I'm fine with. And when I talked to Mark the other day, I said, that's what I'm coming to get, but I'm obviously not going to just put one fish in this tank. It's a 240-gallon tank. Foxfaces get like maybe 8 inches, so I need some more fish. What are you going to suggest?
Well, first, I think we have to talk about the foxface. Now, did you do your due diligence and explore different types of foxface?
The Magnificent is magnificent.
It is.
And he has one of those, and that might be what I bring home.
Yeah, like that is. I mean,
That's a beautiful fish.
yes. I mean, you could go with the standard, but I would definitely go with the magnificent.
Sean, I have 3 Oscars in a tank behind you, one of the most basic fish in the hobby. I like basic stuff. I would be fine with the standard one, but listen, hold on, Lisa has her hand up. If it's,
You'll have to place a super chat.
if it's between, if it's between a magnificent or a standard, I'll take the magnificent, of course. Yes, ma'am.
Can I get a saltwater snail?
Yeah.
Well, be
course.
careful, because you have to decide, John, what you're going to do. And Lisa. Yeah. So John and Lisa here have to
a reef?
decide. Well, snails get eaten by puffers. So if you do want a puffer, then you can't have coral and you can't have invertebrates. And puffers are fun.
But no, we don't want a saltwater puffer.
You sure?
We don't? It's my tank, lady.
Ooh.
Yeah, you're right. It's your tank. I won't have my own.
Have you ever seen a mappa puffer?
Of course, yeah.
Those things are amazing.
Yeah.
It's just,
And then they take their teeth and they do like this to the front of the glass the whole time. And it's just very entertaining.
Now, okay, so here's the thing. I told you I've always wanted the fox face, and that's absolutely true. But I've also always wanted a big old angel.
Yeah.
Like the emperor. Isn't there an emperor? And then the queen is like, forget about it. I mean, that's one of the most beautiful fish I've ever seen. I don't think you can mix them in a tank this size, like multiple angels. I don't know. At least that's what I've been told. If I had to choose, I know angels are not reef safe.
No.
If I keep looking at Evie because we've been talking about these all weekend.
Evie likes to push the boundaries.
Everybody says angels are not reef safe. So if I had to choose corals or angels, I'm going to pick angels every time.
Mm-hmm.
And Lisa can have the corals in her tank. She's going to set up a saltwater tank too. It's not happening this weekend. I don't know when it's going to happen. She's going to set up a smaller tank, and the whole purpose is to do a reef with invertebrates in it. And that's, she might not even have fish. Maybe some clowns or something.
I think Jake said I have to have fish.
Okay, Jake said she had to have fish. The last conversation we had with Jake, he basically told us what he was going to do with my tank, and he said he knew exactly what she wanted. It was at the dinner. It was actually me, Jake, her, and your uncle, Dan,
Yeah, Uncle Dan.
who's an amazing
Maybe
guy.
he's watching.
And
Is
his
Uncle Dan
beard,
watching?
I just love his beard. It's glorious. It's one of the best
Yeah.
beards I've ever seen. And I kept telling him that, and he was like, what? Like, but it's glorious. It's a beautiful beard.
He knows it's glorious. He's just modest.
I think one of the things that's the greatest about it is that it's all one color. Mine's
it's
all over the place.
Puffy.
His
It's
is
got-
completely Santa Claus white.
Yeah.
But anyway, what? Jake said he knew exactly what she wanted, and he knew exactly what I wanted, and he had a plan. And unfortunately, we never found out really what that plan was, but we're going to make a new plan, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And hers is going to have the corals in it, and she'll have all the fun wavy stuff, and I'll have the cool big fish. So
So you can have a snail in your reef, Lisa.
you'll have to put the snails in my tank, and we just won't be able to get puffers. What else?
Oh, I can't have snail.
No, you can have a snail in your reef.
That's
A Nasarius snail. A chestnut. My favorite snail is the chestnut snail.
Those are okay for a reef?
Yeah,
Oh, well, I thought you said you couldn't do those in a reef. Okay.
you can. You need them. They help keep things clean. Nasarius snails help with the sand. Those are the ones that come out like zombies when you feed. It's really cool.
All right, so we're not talking about Lisa's tank right now, okay? This is all about me. I want an angel. I don't know what kind of angels Mark has, but they're all beautiful. Angels are gorgeous. Freshwater and saltwater. And I want the fox face. What else? Evie, you can chime in too. It's fine. 'Cause
So
I know this is your cup of tea.
I would say
Ras.
you're gonna have to pick your tang. You're probably gonna be able to have a couple tangs in there. So if it was me, I'd probably pick something like I like a black tang. Those are really cool, but
That
they're
sounds
expensive.
like my speed.
Fritz
Fritz is paying for it, so I don't care.
only for
That was
so
a
long.
joke, folks. That was a joke.
It's time for you to come home.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
need to get out of that guy.
Get in our
I was totally joking.
I
folks.
like. I think you have a large enough tank to consider like maybe a clown tang. They like to have a lot of swimming space. Those are very cool. But
Sorry, we have the doors open. It's North Carolina. You
Um,
got the big trucks driving by.
I would consider maybe a coal tang. It's like a purple with a yellow eye on it. It's really cool, and they have a bristle tooth mouth, and so they constantly graze on the rocks to keep the algae away.
What about a copper band?
No,
How dare you?
I would say no, just because they're so hard to keep.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't
Um,
want those kind of fish.
They're picky eaters. You can find one. Talk to someone. Because yeah, but they have those long fins and they get nipped by things like angels and
Well, I mean, it just depends. Like with fish only, I just recommend super heavy feeding. Super heavy feeding keeps tempers down, and then everybody's too full to move and fight.
yeah, just
She's giving me advice that you all can't hear right now
Yeah.
because these aren't going to pick you up. But
so your angel, wrasse. You want to pick something like
wrasses are small though, right?
No, there's you can have big wrasses.
You do a bicolor parrot. Bicolor parrot would be cool.
I was thinking,
Well, we just got to hope that Mark's going to have all these things.
They'll just order it. Just make a list and try to order it.
which why am I drawing a blank on this one, Evie? The wrasse that turns from green to gray.
Bird rice?
No, the one that starts off like this small and it's got all the branches on him. He's green and white, and he turns to gray and black. Well,
Yeah, you got me on that
it's
one.
it gets to be about 12 inches. I'll remember it in a second.
See, I do want fish that are going to be on the bigger side, but I know
Bird rice would be cool.
I know with saltwater, it's not like you can have small fish with big fish, which is, not going to happen in my tanks. So I love smaller fish. I love clowns. I'm not going to lie, especially the what, the black and white ones are the ones that look like little cows. I love those so much. But I love all clowns, and I don't really care which ones they are. So I kind of feel like I maybe want to get some of those, but
Puffer.
well, he's going to fight me for the puffer. I mean, I'm not opposed to it.
A mappa puffer. There's no greater thing than a mappa puffer or a golden dogface. Mappa puffer is just so much cooler though.
Now the dog face one,
They all
that's
have-
a daggone cool.
They all
fish.
have dog faces.
The Dalmatian,
oh.
black and white.
Well, we just got to hope Mark has all this stuff. What about what triggers?
Well, you're not gonna
Like,
get it
are
all
they-
tomorrow.
Triggers are great.
Triggers are great, she said.
Triggers are great. You've got to decide to do like a big boss trigger, like a clown. But you could easily do a Niger. You could do a half moon. You could do.
And they're not going to kill all the other fish?
You could do a male and female blue throat pair.
Okay. We're going to have some fun at Aquatics Unlimited tomorrow. It's going to be a blast. And it's going to be overwhelming. I'm glad we're not going to be under any time constraints because, as long as you show up on time, we're not going to be under any. Let me do this real quick because we're already at an hour and a half. Can you believe that? Stephanie McGinnigan said hello. Hi. She's a member for 7 months. Whips World. And he's going to yell at me, John. Since you're sitting there with the owner, president of CEO and CEO of Fritz, how about putting in a good word for the old Whip? Oh, that's funny. We were talking about you yesterday, Whip. He's the guy I was telling you that's 6'5" and he's got long, glorious, flowing hair, and he's from Chicago. Been to every Chicago Aquashella and brought me deep dish pizza every time. He's the one that came here to help me carry all these aquariums.
Oh, okay.
And he's a big monster, so a lot of times it was 3 people on one end of the tank and him by himself on the other end of the tank. He's a superhuman. And he's crazy. He'll drive halfway across the country to help somebody carry aquariums at 3 o'clock in the morning. Leo 209 Aquatics. So what's the best way to use Fritz Monster 360 or
Oh, that's a good question.
360? I got some of that saltwater version right there.
That's a good question.
We do need to keep it brief, though, because we're going to start stepping on other people's toes. I know that's not good for you, but Let's try.
Hey, no, it's heterotrophic bacillus bacteria that's different than nitrifiers autotrophic. This is something that just breaks down undissolved organic inside your aquarium, fish waste, leftover fish food, stuff that settles behind the rocks that doesn't get caught by the flow. And you
Great
add
for tanks like that.
I would monitor your nitrate and phosphate levels because that's the identifier of how much you have dissolving as far as waste inside of your aquarium. And if those are inching up, I would just dose it once a week. As those come down, I would dose it once a month. And that's really all you have to do. It's just kind of monitor your phosphate and nitrate.
We've sold quite a bit of that. The Monster 360, obviously the freshwater version. We've sold quite a bit. But, who knows? We're entering into the saltwater world. We might start exploring saltwater Fritz products too. Who knows? Salient Aquatics. At Fritz, how is your products better than Seachem? Oh, he went there.
Oh, geez.
Burning question for me. No better time to ask. Not being rude. Genuine question. And I said I didn't want to do that tonight, but this guy paid some money,
Hey.
or gal. I'm not sure.
I would say
I got a leg cramp during a live stream. That's always fun.
I would say that, you can't just say your product's better than the other person, and just talk about your products overall. Seachem may do something better than Fritz. I mean, everyone specializes in their own things. They have a team of scientists. We have a team of scientists that make our products. We believe in our strategy and what we do, but they have their own. And I think that, sometimes it's time that tells, and there's a lot of variables too at the same time because you're dealing with an ecosystem. Unless you were able to hold everything constant to be able to watch the product work on its own, you really couldn't declare one over the other unless you just had a massive long time and then just a million people saying one thing or the other. So I would ask, the people that use Fritz to answer those questions as to why they believe our products are better. I think that Seachem is a great company that is responsible and wants to make good products for the aquarium industry, and so does Fritz, and so do many others. So I think we're great at bacteria. We've been doing it for a long time. I think we're great at salt. We've been doing it for a long time. But, there might be something that we get into that maybe they just know something that we don't at that time. But we're dedicated to continuing to improve to get there. And that's why we spend so much research time on our products, is to try to see it. But you're dealing with an isolated test situation. My products may work better than Seachem's in our tests, but maybe it's different variables and they're targeting something else. And so I'd say we're proud of our products. We think in some cases that we prevail as the best in the market. But, we're not going to run out and say we're better than everyone else.
I like that.
Yeah.
I mean, they both have great products.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting weird because I literally have a leg cramp right now, and it is horrible.
Walk it out. Walk it out.
I would if I wasn't live in front of 43,000 people.
Might need to kick your other leg.
No, I'll be fine. I'm just gonna fight through it. Leo 209 Aquatics again came in and said, "Tell him." Oh, here we go. Tell him we need an Aquashella in California, or the West Coast, please and thank you.
I love that idea. It's just, again,
It's probably the only way I'll ever get to California. To be honest with
so
you.
hard to put on an Aquashella, but I will always take a look and see what's possible out there, and maybe we just get better and better at it, and it's not so hard to do.
If you're gonna do it, just do San Diego, not LA, please.
No way. I would definitely go to LA, to Orange County. I would go straight there because they have a great convention center there. It's our
he
style
knows
of
these
place.
things.
And I would go straight to that Orange County Convention Center hangar because it's a perfect aquatic facility. I don't love doing them in hotels. I love to do them in convention centers that have concrete floors. And so I know exactly where I'd go if I went to California, and that would be where it is. So
Okay, fine. I'll go there. That's fine. Blake Robinson just wanted to say you guys are my favorite YouTube fish keepers there are. I've been listening to your guys' advice religiously, and it has paid off with a happy and healthy 55-gallon community tank. Appreciate y'all greatly. Wow, that is very nice of you. Paid $20 to say that.
wow.
That is a huge compliment. Thank you so much for that. I'm sorry to have to go through these quickly. The fish room with a $5 NZ New Zealand, possibly. My leg is still cramping. If you were to start a show again from scratch, what would be the 3 key things you would focus on? I can answer that for you.
I thought they were talking to you.
No, they're starting a show from scratch.
Oh, aquarium show.
Yeah. You would
Oh.
focus on the venue, the team, and the team.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that it's all about planning it out well. I mean, Aquascaping was just kind of a dream that George and I talked about, and he loves to create cool ideas, and so do I. And I would say if I were to plan it again, I would. I mean, I don't know if I would do it different.
Please don't.
I don't think I would. I think I've done everything that I wanted to do with Aquascaping in the order that I'd like to do them in. I mean, I have some dreams for the future for that brand and some things that we want to bring to you guys eventually. But I don't think I would do it differently at all. And that's pretty firm.
There you go.
So
You already got the blueprint. Might as well keep it going the way it is.
Yeah.
High Performance Trucking gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much for that. That is so cool to gift somebody all the behind the scenes stuff, which we have to do one tomorrow for our members. A little behind the scenes aquarium, saltwater aquarium action for them. Lefty3213A, snails are friends, not pests. Save the snails. Yeah. Lefty's actually the reason why you have such a big snail problem right now. Thank you, Lefty. He sent like 8 snails, and now there are 836,000 of them. But she loves every one of them, Lefty. Joe Provenzano, mad I took the overtime. I forgot this was happening. That's the beautiful thing about YouTube live streaming. You can watch it whenever you want. You can rewind this now all the way back to the beginning, or you can wait till it goes up on replay, and you can watch it 26 times if you want. Christian's Amazing Animals with the $2 at Just Bored. Well, that's a shame. But you know what? He's a young guy. So young guys have a hard time following, some of the more in-depth stuff. So it's fine. But Christian is a big supporter of the channel. So we're going to let you slide on that, Christian.
Well, we'll ask him, Christian, what would he like us to talk about? Because we don't know. I mean, we're just kind of feeling our way through here. If you're bored, what would you rather hear about? Let's ask him a question back and see what he says.
Well, we ain't got time for that. But it's also, live streams are just people sitting here talking. So there's really no way, unless you're like Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer, you're not really going to be, it's boring fish stuff. It is what it is. Catwoman VA again lives right up the street. Watching snails eat is so cute. Nom, nom, nom. They love cat snail food. Oh, boy, do they. I'll be ordering more soon. Yeah, we sell a ton of that. You probably know Cat. She gets booths at almost all of the Aquashellas. Cats Aquatics.
Yeah. Those are great
That's where we
people.
met her, was at Aquashella, and we've sold tons of her food.
She is one of the people that, I would, because they do, mainly Plecostomus and things like that. I would be worried about losing vendors like her when you start to raise prices like that.
Right.
I mean, because it's already tough enough to be profitable in this industry at times. And so that's why we would keep them low.
And I admire you for it. Kendall Cook, saltwater puffer. Heck yes. Sorry, Lisa.
Mappa puffer.
Well, you can show me one tomorrow. I am not opposed at all. Whips World again. If you find your family, don't you cry. This is what he does, okay? And he tries to embarrass me because he's a personal friend of mine.
Yeah.
And he sends song lyrics.
Oh.
And I have to figure out what they are while I'm in front of an audience of 86,000 people.
Well, that's what's boring, Christian.
Maybe it is. Maybe Whip's World is the problem. Maybe that's what it is. But let's try to figure this one out. If anybody knows, please chime in. He's old, really old. I think he's like 74 years old. So he's going to be into the really old music, from like the 50s and the 40s. If you find your family, don't you cry. In this land of make-believe, dead and dry. That's... What?
Huh?
That sounds so
I
familiar.
could Google it. Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy, can you put that in the Google machine real quick? No.
Yeah, I know. We
that's
can't
true.
even Google it. Ah!
Yeah, you're going to get me on that one. But you know what? Here's the funny thing. He ordered from us from our website, and I write a little note on all the receipts because I just do, and Lisa does when she packs. I wrote the lyrics to a song on his receipt, and he didn't guess that one.
Yeah.
But he wasn't in front of a live audience when it happened either. So, and it was an Oasis song. Hey now, what a great song. Catwoman VA again. You need a gold maroon clownfish. Pretty sure you said that.
Yeah, the maroon clowns. No, those are mean.
I heard they're mean. I'm going to tell you a story about one of those.
But they're going to have to hold their own in that fish only, so that's good.
We were at a store in Richmond, Virginia, and they had a maroon clown that was big, 30 years old, this fish. And we were standing there, and it jumped 6 feet out of the tank onto the ground. And the owner of the store was like, daggone it. He just casually walked over there, picked him up off the floor, put him back in the tank, and it was like he was never out of the water. The fish was like, I don't care. I just went on a little ride. That's all. And he was 30 years old.
The gold band maroon is one of the most beautiful clowns out
That's
there.
Redskins colors. Excuse me. Washington, well, it used to be.
The Washington football team.
But they're not the same colors anymore. When they were,
they did change.
it is the Washington Commanders now, and I don't think their colors are the same. And as a matter of fact, Catwoman VA she hashtagged HTTR, which we all know what that means. You probably don't because you're one of those idiot Cowboy fans, but it means Hail to the Redskins is what HTTR means. Their colors were the same as the maroon clown. So maybe I will get one of those. That'll be fun. Anyway, as I continue to put my foot in my mouth, Leo 209 Aquatics came in again. Snails are puffer food. Don't deny it. Yeah, it's true. And it's adorable to watch them chew on things, even though it's cruel. Christian's Amazing Animals came in again and said, hey, I didn't mean the stream was boring. I don't know what he was talking about was boring then. But that's fine. Christian, we're not mad at you. Don't worry. It's all good. Janice Lundberg, this is very interesting and informative stream. Thank you. This is why I was excited about having Sean on, because he doesn't say, yeah, it's good. He explains why things are good.
Over explains.
Sometimes it might take a long time. Sometimes
I'll tell you a long story.
But it is true. And then Leo, this is the last one we're going to be able to read because we're already stepping on somebody else's toes. Said, how about them Cowboys? How about they are sitting at home watching just like the Commanders
But
are?
you didn't even make the playoffs.
I'm not on the team, so don't say I didn't make it to the playoffs.
Right.
I don't play for them. So
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
I love those people that are like, we're going all the way this year. No, you're not.
So
You're-
whose toes are we stepping on?
Chattanooga Ed. And come on, everybody loves Chattanooga Ed.
Oh,
We
he's
don't want-
going on live.
He's live now, and he's
Oh.
and shame on us. We are impeding on his time. So
I did not know that you guys work together like that, and you just try to.
yeah, and
Because I could never do that. I would just talk all night.
and that's my problem. He knows I'm going to go 10, 15 minutes over every single time. He knows, and he doesn't get mad at me because Ed is the nicest human being.
So he
on
truly
planet
wants
Earth.
to go on at 10, but he tells you 9:30 because he knows you take 30 minutes to get off.
That could be it. Just like tomorrow when we plan to go to the fish store, I'm going to tell you an hour before you're actually supposed to be here, or possibly even 2 hours.
He's just like my David.
Yeah.
Say, come on.
Sean says he's going to be here at 10. He's going to roll in about 12:30.
You be late one time, I had Fritz things to do this morning. And so
It's fun to finally be able
11:30.
to give you a hard time about something, and that is what I am good at. But listen, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
I'm not even going to start the process of thanking you for all of this, but thank you for being willing to put that on hold for a second, even though they were still working on it. And I know you're very tired. You've had a wild week.
I'm wide awake because remember I got extra sleep this morning.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we're
So-
going to be at this for a while, so it's good that you're awake.
So
But-
I have one more thing to tell you.
oh, please do.
It's a dragon wrasse. It's a dragon wrasse. You need a dragon wrasse. The one that you couldn't remember, Evie. It starts. No, it's not. That thing is not even reef safe. A dragon wrasse. It starts off small and green, and the coolest looking thing is all psychedelic looking, and then it completely changes to gray and black, and it has a diamond look and like this really cool like crosshair eye. Super awesome.
That
you need a
sounds good
dragon
to me.
wrasse. So-
I'm in. That's fine.
It was bothering me because I couldn't remember the name.
That's good. I'm glad you thought of it. So listen, folks, we are going to have to sign it off here, as I could go all night long, especially with you. It's a lot of fun. You've been very informative. And again, I appreciate it. You are the 4th live guest on this live stream.
Oh, well, I hope I didn't bore you guys. I'm
Oh, heck
glad
no.
that Christian came back and
Ted Judy. Rack was the first. Ted Judy, Corey, and now you.
oh, I had to follow Corey.
That's not easy to do.
That's a tough thing to do.
That's
This
a
is
tough
not
follow
fair.
right there.
This is not fair.
But yeah, I streamed from Aquascaping one year, and we had some guests on there too. But we're not going to count those because we're talking about here. But you're the first to do it here, so congratulations. Nobody can ever take that away from you. Thank you so much for doing this with me here tonight.
Thank you.
I'm going to break all this stuff down, put it all away, so that we can, so that Sean can fill that up and get this thing going. And I'll help him. But it's going to be a lot of fun. Be looking for the videos. The video's not coming out on Sunday, not for this. It's going to take some time to get it all ready, but I will be doing stuff on this. Members, be looking for stuff on this tank. Thank you so much, Sean.
Thank you.
And thank you, Evie and Jimmy, for contributing. Thank you, Lisa Marie, for contributing. Next week, it'll be back to me and Lisa. We'll go back to normal, but we'll be out here and not in the house. So it'll be lots of fun. We got to get back to work.
All right, let's go.
We'll do it. Thank you all so much. Bye-bye.